Hi guys, today we're going to be talking about World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft is a massively multiplayer online role-playing game, otherwise known as MMORPG, released in 2004 by Blizzard Entertainment. It is the fourth released game set in the Warcraft fantasy universe. World of Warcraft takes place within the Warcraft world of Azeroth, approximately 4 years after the events at the conclusion of Blizzard's previous Warcraft release, Warcraft 3: The Frozen Throne. Blizzard Entertainment announced World of Warcraft on September 2nd, 2001. The game was released on November 23rd, 2004 on the 10th anniversary of the Warcraft franchise. The first expansion of the game, The Burning Crusade, was released on January 16, 2007. The second expansion, Wrath of the Lich King, was released on November 13, 2008. The third expansion, Cataclysm, was released on December 7, 2010. The fourth expansion, Mists of Pandaria, was released on September 25, 2012. The fifth expansion, Warlords of Draenor, was released on November 13, 2014. The sixth expansion, Legion, was released on August 30, 2016. The seventh expansion, announced on November 3rd, 2017, is Battle for Azeroth. With a peak of 12 million subscribers in October of 2010 and Blizzard's final report of 5.5 million subscribers in October of 2015, World of Warcraft remains the world's most subscribed MMORPG and holds the Guinness World Record for the most popular MMORPG by subscribers. As with other MMORPGs, players control a character avatar within a game world in third or first-person view, exploring the landscape, fighting various monsters, completing quests, and interacting with non-player characters or other players. Also similar to other MMORPGs, World of Warcraft requires the players to pay for a subscription by using a credit or debit card, using prepaid Blizzard game cards, or using a World of Warcraft token purchased in-game. Players without a subscription may use a trial account that lets the player character reach up to level 20 but has many features locked. To enter the game, the player must select a server, referred to in-game as a realm. Each realm acts as an individual copy of the game world and falls into one of 4 categories. Available realm types are Normal, a player versus environment realm where the gameplay is more focused on defeating monsters and completing quests. Player versus player fights must be consensual and any roleplay is optional. Then there's PvP, player versus player, an environment where, in addition to defeating monsters and completing quests, open PvP combat is allowed so a player may attack and be attacked by the opposing faction's players at any time. RP, roleplay, a variant of PvE where players roleplay in character. And then there's RP, PvP, roleplay, player versus player, a variant of PvP where players are in character and cross-faction combat is allowed. Realms are also categorized by language, with in-game support in the language available. Players can make new characters on all realms within the region, and it is also possible to move already established characters between realms for a fee. To create a new character in keeping with the storyline of previous Warcraft games, players must choose between the opposing factions of the Alliance or the Horde. Pandarians added in the Mists of Pandaria do not commit to a faction until after the starting zone is completed. Characters from the opposing faction can perform rudimentary communication, most often just emotes, but only members of the same faction can speak, mail, group, and join guilds. The player selects the new character's race, such as orcs or trolls for the Horde, or humans or dwarves for the Alliance. Players must select the class for the character with choices such as mages, warriors, and priests available. Most classes are limited to particular races. As characters become more developed, they gain various talents and skills, requiring the player to further define the abilities of that character. Characters can choose 2 primary professions that can focus on producing items such as tailoring, blacksmithing, or jewel crafting, or on gathering from resource nodes such as skinning or mining. Characters can learn all 4 secondary skills: archaeology, cooking, fishing, and first aid. Characters may form and join guilds, allowing characters within the guild access to guild that channel, the guild name, and optionally allowing other features including a guild tabard, guild bank, guild repairs, and dues. Much of the World of Warcraft plays involves the completion of quests. These quests are usually available from NPCs. Quests usually reward the player with some combination of experience, points, items, and in-game money. Quests allow characters to gain access to new skills and abilities, as well as the ability to explore new areas. It is through quests that much of the game's story is told, both through the quest text and through scripted NPC actions. Quests are linked by a common theme, with each consecutive quest triggered by the completion of the previous, forming a quest chain. Quests commonly involve killing a number of creatures, gathering a certain number of resources, finding a difficult to locate objects, speaking to various NPCs, visiting specific locations, interacting with objects in the world, or delivering an item from one place to another to acquire experience and treasures. While a player can be played on its own, players can group with others to tackle more challenging content. Most endgame challenges are designed in a way that they can only be overcome while in a group. In this way, character classes are used in specific roles within a group. World of Warcraft uses a rested bonus system, increasing the rate that a character can gain experience points after the player has spent time away from the game. When a character dies, it becomes a ghost or wisp for night elf characters at a nearby graveyard. Characters can be resurrected by other characters that have the ability, or can self-resurrect by moving from the graveyard to the place where they died. If a character is past level 10 and they resurrect at graveyard, the items that they equip by the characters degrade, requiring in-game money. Depending on the mode of the realm, PvP combat between members of opposing factions is possible at almost any time or location in the game world, the only exception being the starting zones, where the PvP flag must be enabled by the player wishing to fight against players of the opposite faction. PvE servers, by contrast, allow a player to choose whether or not to engage in combat against other players. On both server types, there are other special areas of the world where free-for-all combat is permitted. Battlegrounds, for example, are similar to dungeons. Only a set number of characters can enter a single battleground, but additional copies of the battleground can be made to accommodate additional players. Each battleground has a set objective, such as capturing a flag or defeating an opposing general, that must be completed to win the battleground. Competing in Battleground rewards the character with tokens and honor points that can be used to buy armor, weapons, and other general items that can aid a player in many areas of the game. World of Warcraft is set in the same universe as the Warcraft series of real-time strategy games and has a similar art direction. World of Warcraft contains elements from fantasy, steampunk, and science fiction, such as gryphones, dragons, and elves, steam-powered automata, zombies, werewolves, and other horror monsters, as well as time travel, spaceships, and alien worlds. World of Warcraft takes place in a 3D representation of the Warcraft universe that players can interact with through their characters. World of Warcraft requires a subscription to allow continued play, with options to pay in 1 month, 3 month, or 6 month blocks, and time cards of varying lengths available from retailers or purchasing a WOW token in-game. In April 2015, an alternative way to cover the subscription was introduced. A player may spend real money, $20 in North America and differing amounts in other regions, on a WOW token, which is sold on the auction house for in-game gold that initially could only be used to add 30 days of playtime. At the launch of the feature in NA, a token sold for 30,000 gold and 24 hours later sold for 20,000 gold. Therefore, the gold amount changes depending on what players are willing to spend and the supply. So that concludes our video on World of Warcraft. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you. Bye!